Books are fun, books are great. Let's get down with a book today. Books are fun, books are great. Oh, I just can't wait. So I just can't wait to read a book, 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 book. I just can't wait to read a book. Good morning, children. Welcome to our reading class. Yes, are you happy? I'm so excited to have you here today. So, today in our reading class, we are reading a book titled A Squash and a Squeeze. Are you happy? Yes. So let's find out more about this book, shall we? Let's go. All right, children. At the end of this period, this reading lesson, what are you going to learn? At the end of this lesson, you should be able to retell the story to your mommy and daddy, the story in this storybook to your mom and dad at home. Then you should be able to say the words, the new words we are meeting today in the story. You should be able to tell your mommy and daddy the beginning sound of those selected words I will show you, okay? Then you should be able to answer the questions I will ask you at the end of this lesson correctly. Okay, are you ready? Now let's go. Bible reference. Our Bible reference today is taken from Psalm 94, verse 19, and it says, "When I am filled with cares, your comfort brings me joy." Let's take it again. Psalm 94, verse 19, and it says, "When I am filled with cares, your comfort brings me joy." So, children, this verse is telling us to stay happy with what God has given to us. Anything you have your clothes, you have your toys at home, you have your wonderful and beautiful mom and dad, you have your brothers and your sisters. Always stay happy, thank God for what you have, and be content.
Hey, Barney! Storybook Land is cool!
Oh, it sure is, BJ.
How do you like our crowds?
They're delightful. Who are you two pretending to be?
Oh, I'm a beautiful queen!
Oh, I see. And are you a king, BJ?
Well, I'm more than a plain old king, Barney.
Oh.
I'm pretending to be old King Cole.
Old King Cole was a merry old soul, and a merry old soul was he. He called for his pipe, and he called for his bowl, and he called for his fiddlers three.
Dance with the fiddlers, dance with the fiddlers, dance with the fiddlers three.
Yeah.
Dance with the fiddlers, dance with the fiddlers, dance with the fiddlers three.
All right.
Old King Cole was a merry old soul, and a merry old soul was he. He called for his queen, and he called for his court, and he called for his trumpeters three.
Dance with the trumpeters, dance with the trumpeters, dance with the trumpeters three.
Oh, dance with the trumpeters, dance with the trumpeters, dance with the trumpeters three. Old King Cole was a merry old soul, and a merry old soul was he. He called for his ladies, and he called for his lords, and he called for his drummers three.
Dance with the drummers, dance with the drummers, dance with the drummers three. Dance with the drummers, dance with the drummers, dance with the drummers three. Dance with the fiddlers,
Dance with the trumpeters.
dance with the drummers. Dance and dance and dance until you all fall down with me. Whee!
A Squash and a Squeeze by Julia Donaldson and illustrated by Axel Scheffler. A little old lady lived all by herself with a table and chairs and a jug on the shelf. A wise old man heard her grumble and grouse. "There's not enough room in my house. Wise old man, won't you help me, please? My house is a squash and a squeeze. Take in your hen, said the wise old man. Take in my hen? What a curious plan. Well, the hen laid an egg on the fireside rug and flapped round the room, knocking over the jug. The little old lady cried, "What shall I do? It was pokey for one, and it's tiny for two. My nose has a tickle, and there's no room to sneeze. My house is a squash and a squeeze." And she said, "Wise old man, won't you help me, please? My house is a squash and a squeeze." "Take in your goat," said the wise old man. "Take in my goat? What a curious plan." Well, the goat chewed the curtains and trod on the egg, then sat down to nibble the table leg. The little old lady cried, "Glory be! It was tiny for two, and it's titchy for three. The hen pecks the goat, and the goat's got fleas. My house is a squash and a squeeze." And she said, "Wise old man, won't you help me, please? My house is a squash and a squeeze." "Take in your pig," said the wise old man. "Take in my pig? What a curious plan." So she took in her pig, who kept chasing the hen, and rode in the larder again and again. The little old lady cried, "Stop, I implore! It was titchy for three, and it's tiny for four. Even the pig in the larder agrees. My house is a squash and a squeeze." And she said, "Wise old man, won't you help me, please? My house is a squash and a squeeze." "Take in your cow," said the wise old man. "Take in my cow? What a curious plan." Well, the cow took one look and charged straight at the pig, then jumped on the table and tapped out a jig. The little old lady cried, "Heavens alive! It was tiny for four, and it's weeny for five. I'm tearing my hair out, I'm down on my knees. My house is a squash and a squeeze." And she said, "Wise old man, won't you help me, please? My house is a squash and a squeeze." "Take them all out," said the wise old man. "But then I'll be back where I first began." So she opened the window and out flew the hen. "That's better. At last I can sneeze again." She shooed out the goat and she shoved out the pig. My house is beginning to feel pretty big. She huffed and she puffed and she pushed out the cow. "Just look at my house, it's enormous now." "Thank you, old man, for the work you have done. It was weeny for five, it's gigantic for one. There's no need to grumble and there's no need to grouse. There's plenty of room in my house." And now she's full of frolics and fiddle-dee-dees. It isn't a squash and it isn't a squeeze. Yes, she's full of frolics and fiddle-dee-dees. It isn't a squash or a squeeze. Press the button below to subscribe.
Welcome back, children. Did you enjoy today's story? I did, and I know you did too. So before we continue, let's go over the story again. So today's book was titled A Squash and a Squeeze, and it's about an old woman who lived alone in her house, and she lived with her chairs, her tables, the jug, and the fridge, and everything in her house. But she was not happy because she felt she didn't have enough space in her house. So what did she do? She went to a wise old man who told her to bring in four animals. Can we mention them? First, she brought in the hen, as in hen, that is for Harry Hartman. Then she brought in the goat, as in goat, that's for Golden Girl. Then she brought in the pig, as in pig, for Peter Puppy. Then she brought in the cow, as in cow, for Clever Cat, making four. All right, so when she brought them in, was she happy? No, she was not. Why? Because the animals came in and scattered everything in her house, and she could not even breathe. So she ran back to the old man, who told her to take everything out again. So she carried all the animals, pushed them away out of her house, and suddenly she became happy because she saw her house just the way it is and accepted it that way. She was now content with what she has. She started dancing and she was happy. So, what's the story here? What's the moral lesson? The moral lesson in today's story is that we should always be happy with what God has given you. Whatever God gives to you, be happy with it, okay? Just like in our Bible reference, so when we have filled the cares of this world, the comfort of the Lord will give us joy. So when we are troubled and we are not happy with what we have, let's remember that God's comfort always will bring joy to us. All right, so now let's look at two words we met in the story. I selected two, so we're going to say the beginning sound. So the first word I have here is as in cow. Can you see the cow? As in cow. So what's the beginning sound for the cow? The beginning sound for the cow is clever cat. All right, so we are going to underline the clever cat. Okay, are we ready to underline the clever cat? All right, so let's do that together. As in cow. So here I have my cow. All right, now the next is the goat. As in goat. What's the beginning sound for the goat? Is golden girl. Okay, now that is it. Very good. Thank you. All right, children, now it's time to questions. Can you tell the answers to these questions? All right, so the first question I have here is, what is the title of today's storybook? Who can tell me the title of our storybook today? Yes, today's storybook is titled A Squash and a Squeeze. Thank you. Now the next question, why did the old woman grumble and complain to the old wise man? Can you tell me why the old woman was grumbling and why she was complaining? Let's find out why. She said there wasn't enough room in her house. She said the rooms in her house was, she didn't have enough space in the house. So she was complaining and she was grumbling. All right. What was the first thing the wise old man asked her to do? Let's find out. Yes, he told her to bring in the hen. He told her to bring in the hen, okay? Now, the next question. Can you say what the hen did when it was brought in? When the old woman brought in the hen, what did the hen do? Let's find out. The hen laid an egg on the mat and knocked over the jug. Did you remember that? Yes. The hen laid an egg on the mat and knocked over the jug. Was that your answer too? Correct. Good job. Next. Who nibbled on the table leg and chewed the curtain when it was brought in? Okay, can you remember who nibbled on the table leg and chewed the curtain when it was brought in? I'll give you 2 seconds to think about that. All right, let's find out what we have here. It was the goats. The goat nibbled on the table leg and chewed the curtain when it was brought in. Thank you. Now for our last question. How many animals did the old woman take into her house? How many? Let's find out. She took in 4 animals, okay? She took in 4 animals. Can we mention them? First, she brought in the hen. Next, she brought in the goat. Then she brought in the pig. And then finally, she brought in the cow. 4 animals. So we have hen for Harry Hartman, goat for Golden Girl, pig for Peter Puppy, and cow for Clever Cat. Very good. So now for the very last question. Is it good to grumble over everything? Is it good to complain over everything? No, it's not good to grumble over everything. Now, children, we have come to the end of our reading class for today. Thank you very much. See you again next time. Bye.